What's up, Laker Nation? This is episode 2 of the Downtown Lakers podcast. I'm your co-host, Ethan Shirazi. This is your other co-host, Jake Ellenbogen. How you doing, bro?
Good, man. There you go. You got your intro out of the way. How'd that feel?
Yeah, bro. Hey, man. Just getting started, bro.
Hey, I hear you.
We're doing this again, episode 2.
Absolutely. And, man, how about that game last night?
Bro, it was incredible, man. Incredible comeback, incredible 8-game winning streak now. First time since 2020, man. I'm just hell excited for that, man. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you were there. So,
Yeah,
kind of take me through that experience, because that was a game. I told you this off air. I think this is the first time during their win streak where it felt like they had a possibility of losing.
It did. Yeah, we were down, I believe 10 in the fourth quarter with like 7 minutes remaining, and I was like, damn, I think this 8-game win streak is pretty much over. And then when we came back and forced overtime, I'm like, yeah, we're definitely going to be winning this game. So yeah, that was spectacular finish right there.
Yeah, it was huge. There are a lot of things to take away from that. There are a lot of things to take away from the week. Welcome back, everybody. If you were here for episode 1, we appreciate you being back for episode 2. A lot of stuff to talk about. I want to start, Ethan, because we'll get into the Knicks and Lakers game. We'll get into previewing the Celtics game tomorrow. But how about Jackson Hayes? I really want to make an emphasis on Jackson Hayes, because this is a guy who basically was told he wasn't good enough to be the starter. When they traded away Anthony Davis, they immediately went out and got Mark Williams. That had to have had some effect on him. But no, instead, the Mark Williams thing gets rescinded, and this guy has been the number 1 defensive center in the NBA since February 1st. So hats off to him. He's still a young player. It is a reminder how, this league, we can get so caught up in star power, and obviously Luka has had a lot of that, and it's, rightfully so. But there are still players like Jackson Hayes that are young, that are getting traded away like crazy for stars and being throw in a deal. And these guys can play. And I think a lot of people forget, Jackson Hayes coming out of Texas. I mean, he was probably one of my favorite prospects in that draft. I mean, he's a very good prospect, and he's getting an opportunity now to play 20 plus minutes, and we're seeing results, which is a good thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anytime he steps on the floor, he gives it 100% each time. And then, ever since that Mark Williams trade, he's probably, he just kept his poise, just kept his thing going. And, he's a huge player for us now. So being a starter for Lakers, yeah, he's doing phenomenal.
Yeah, and I mean, regardless of what people say, I mean, this guy just played 34 minutes. He only finishes with 8 points. Nobody really talks about it, but on the defensive side, he's been huge. He's actually blocking shots. I mean, the shot he blocked last night was incredible. I mean, he's got rare traits where, maybe if you keep giving him playing time, he can really develop into his own, and that would be a huge thing. But all across the board, the thing that makes this Lakers team so dangerous is that they have guys like Dalton Connect and Gabe Vincent and Trey Jemison and Jared Vanderbilt and Dorian Finney-Smith. It's not really necessarily the stars. It's what comes after the stars. And these guys are very unselfish. They're not going to jack up any ill-advised three-pointers or try to take the ball up court. Like, you're not going to see Jemison dribbling up court or anything like that. But I'm impressed with these guys. There's this level of unselfishness. And I think when you combine that with what JJ Redick brings as far as culture and vision, this is what happens. I mean, this, like, you see a game, you mentioned, we were talking about this before we went live, Gabe Vincent. Do they even win that game without him? I don't think so.
Absolutely not. He was the 100% reason why we won. He made three straight threes, not 3 straight threes, but three threes in the fourth quarter to give us the lead. So that was the first time we took the lead since the second quarter, and then from there on we took the dub. And all props to him, man.
And all the ball movement, the floor spacing, all of that, it's on full display. It's so much better now than it was earlier in the year. This is a team that was 22-18 to start the season, and now they just had their 40th win. And they have 21 losses. Like, that's insane. The turnaround they've had, 8 straight wins. 20-4 since January 15th, which is number 1 in the NBA during that span. I mean, the Knicks had a 93.4 win probability percentage with under 7 minutes to go in this game. Lakers were down 10 and still found a way to get to overtime and ultimately win the game. And it just kind of goes to show you, I understand not everybody is fully bought in to the Lakers. There's something that it just feels weird. Like, how can they do this? What is this? Is this going to be sustained? It is, as long as these guys stay healthy. And they missed Rui last night, but they still played well without Rui, and they still won the game. But if you start to see injuries with LeBron or Doncic, I mean, now we're talking a completely different story. So I think injuries are really the only thing that's going to stop this team from going back to the NBA Finals. And I think right now they should be the favorite. I think they match up incredibly well against OKC. I think they can beat anybody. And I think last night, that Knicks team, that could have been, a finals preview. I wouldn't be surprised if those two faced off in an NBA Finals series. But, man, it's really good to be a Laker fan right now. And a lot of good things are happening in Lakerland.
Yeah, it really is, man. Like, these vibes really feeling right now feels like the exact same way as 2020. Like, the amount of games we won in a row, the amount of, like, we're 24 in the last 24 games. Like, I never felt that feeling since 2020. And to be in the position that we are right now, it's a big, it's big time. So we got, like, I believe 20 more games left in the season. And if you keep this energy coming to the playoffs, we're gonna be dangerous.
Yeah.
Big time.
I think it's exactly 21 games left on the year. So, Boston's up next. That's going to be a huge test. But how about LeBron? Let's talk about LeBron for a second. I mean, he gets to 50,000 career points. That is including postseason. But then he gets to 1,000 all-time regular season wins in that same week. So just a wild player. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, LeBron, since he turned 40, is outperforming his 2012-13 MVP season. I just, at this point, and I understand, people will say, well, I have Kobe or I have Jordan. I mean, to me, LeBron James is the greatest player in NBA history. And I wanted to bring this up because I thought it was an interesting thing where I'm starting to see now, oh, well, to be fair, so-and-so didn't play as long. Exactly. The longevity factor is what makes LeBron on another level. The only thing that's even close to what LeBron is doing is what Gretzky did and what Tom Brady did, playing well into his 40s. I guess I'm really wondering how long LeBron James is going to be around, because currently I do believe he's already the greatest of all time. I know he probably wants to get some more rings, but I mean, this guy doesn't look like he's anywhere near retirement. I mean, body-wise, like at 40 years old, he's running the floor better than, some of the younger players in this league are. So it's kind of crazy. I wanted to ask you, looking at like what LeBron James has done, and now they get Luka, who's probably going to take, something off of LeBron's workload. He already is.
Yeah.
How long do you think realistically LeBron James will be playing in the NBA and likely playing for the LA Lakers?
Because look, he's 40 years old. He's playing his 22nd year. So I would say maximum 2 to 3 years. But to be realistic, probably like another year or 2 max. But that's about it. Because I don't know how many miles his body can withstand. But the guy's just a straight up animal. Like, in my eyes, yes. I think it's just the greatest athlete of all time in any sport. But in basketball wise, look, I'm a Kobe fan, man. I have to say Kobe, but people can argue it can be Michael, it can be Kobe, it can be Wilt, Kareem. But yeah, he's just unbelievable.
No, he definitely is. And I mean, the whole decision and everything that people have already about him not being the greatest of all time or not even close, like, there are people that wouldn't put him in their Mount Rushmore. I always kind of laugh at that because I think that's just silly. But, I just wanted to mention that he's not going to win MVP. It's going to be Jokic or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I do feel like he deserves some recognition. I mean, the way he's playing at this this level. It's just really mind-boggling to me. I mean, if you look, over his, let's just say February, he averaged 29 points per game, 10.5 rebounds, and 6.9 assists per game, with 1.2 blocks and 1.2 steals and 0.7 blocks. And the thing about him is that he's getting better from three. He actually shot 44% from three in February, shot 41 in January. Like, these are some crazy numbers. I mean, he's in the 40% range, and that's just crazy to me because he's never really been viewed as that type of player. I mean, his 3-point percentage the year he won that MVP 2012 to 2013 was like hovering around 35 to 36%. So he has worked on this. He has gotten better at this. I think this prolongs his career. I think he's going to be playing, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets Bryce James to go to the Lakers in some capacity. I would not be surprised. It'll be tough because I think he's going to be a much heavier prospect than Bronny was, but I mean, who knows? I wouldn't rule anything out with him because anytime you put any sort of expectations on him, he blows them out of the water. And just think, this guy, he's drafted in 2003 out of high school, number 1 overall, with all these expectations. He doesn't change his number. He decides to wear the 23. We know what that means, kind of challenging Jordan. And how many guys in the history of sports can you say have taken up all of that pressure and have actually not only exceeded the incredibly gaudy expectations, but have crushed them? He's better than any of us thought he would be. And every single day, every single game at age 40, he's proving that. I mean, this is some of the best basketball I've ever seen him play. That's crazy. Yeah.
Because look, like Kobe came out of high school, but obviously he didn't have the much expectations like LeBron did. He wasn't the first overall pick, his 13th. But to me, I think it was the closest to Jordan. Everyone knows that. Yeah, man, like LeBron, everyone's saying nowadays that he's the greatest of all time, which I do believe, but it's hard to argue that because it's hard to do that because there's a lot of different eras that people play in. Like LeBron is like the 2000s era, the 2010, 2020s. It's just hard. It's just kind of hard. I mean, yes, we can look at stats, but yeah.
I also want to throw one more thing out there about LeBron. I forget who said it. It might have been Rick Bucher. I don't remember exactly. They said he's not going to, when it's all said and done, he won't be an all-time Laker. I actually would push back against that because he's played now, 7 years in LA? I know it's hard to believe. I know people don't realize how long he's been a Laker, and it feels like, oh yeah, he hasn't been there that long. No, he has. And like the Cavs, he was there 11 years. He was only with the Heat 4 years. Like, I think when it's all said and done, like, he is going to be remembered as a Laker. And
I agree.
I just don't understand how he can't be an all-time Laker just because he's doing this at the end of his career, when you could argue this is some of the most efficient basketball he's played over the course of his entire career. That's the disconnect I have with these people that are like, yeah, he's not an all-time Laker. Like, is he Kobe? No. Kobe played his entire career with the Lakers, right? Just like how LeBron never had a chance of being Dwayne Wade with the Heat. And I think he knew that. Yeah. Is LeBron the most successful Cleveland Cavalier ever? Yeah. But, he had 2 stops in Cleveland and then he went to LA. And now he's been in LA for 7 years. And I think it's going to continue. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up 10 years in LA. Maybe he plays 11 years in LA. Who knows? But this idea that, like, no, he's disqualified from being an all-time Laker, that I don't get, Ethan. And I hear that a lot, and I'll just never understand it because there are different tiers to all-time Lakers. I mean, like Magic Johnson and Kobe Bryant and Jerry West, but there are all other guys that had, key and critical roles with the Lakers. I mean, Pau Gasol had a huge role with the Lakers. You talk about guys like that and, just even some of the lesser talked about names like, a Michael Cooper or an AC Green or somebody like that, right?
Right.
And that's my thing, is that I just feel like the idea that you're going to disqualify him because he already played up for two different teams is just insane to me. And I do think he's had these different expectations on the Lakers, and people kind of just assumed they were going to win all these titles. They won in 2020. They're the closest they've been, in my opinion, and that's saying a lot because they got to the Western Conference Finals, 2 years ago or whatever. But that tells me a lot, because this is the closest they've been. They have Luka. They win a really big game against the Knicks. That felt like a playoff game. And now you got this test on the, against the Celtics here. We're going to find out real quick just how legit this Lakers team is. But Ethan, I understand they give up leads at the end of games, but they're also very clutch at the end of the games. They make those shots. And I just feel like the way their defense is playing right now, no one wants to see that team. Nobody. I mean, if you've seen all the comebacks we've made, like, it's always like those like last few possessions or like last few minutes we go on a run. Like, like we said, we were down 10 with 7 minutes remaining. We go on a run. We make a few threes, big defensive stops, and boom, we're right back in the game. And then take the lead and get the dub. And that's what we have to do every single game. Like, don't get it. I mean, of course, don't give any leads up like that. But always stay locked in. Always play your role. And then, yeah. I love this. Jared Vanderbilt literally teleports. That's how I feel. The dude is everywhere. He's everywhere. And that's why this team feels different. It doesn't feel like a team that they just bought. It feels like, even to a degree, like Vanderbilt was just a nice pickup, right? Finney Smith, okay, they traded for him. But like Rui was a nice pickup. I think you could take advantage of the league, because I think the league is full of like some really mid to low tier executives. And that's why we have like the constant, when people say there's no parity in the NBA, that's why, because there's a lot of bad executives and owners and what have you. I just feel like Rui being, underutilized in Washington comes over, boom. Like immediately it's a great fit. You got Austin Reeves, who's a UDFA. Still don't know how he wasn't drafted. LeBron signs over there, whatever. You trade away Anthony Davis. You get Luka. You trade away prospects to get Anthony Davis. Then you trade away Anthony Davis, which you trade prospects away to get Anthony Davis for Luka. I really like the makeup of this team, because it just doesn't feel like, okay, they just got the best players possible on this roster. Like Jackson Hayes is another one of those young players. If you really follow the pattern here, you got Rui, who was the top pick in his draft with the Lakers. You got Jackson Hayes, who was a top pick. You got Doncic, who was a top pick. They get these guys that like, and again, Doncic, of course, probably should have been traded. But they get these guys that like these teams trade away and they don't even think twice. And that's the problem, is that like Rui would probably have worked in Washington if they used him better. Right. And I mean, the same thing goes for a Jackson Hayes. He probably could have worked a little bit better in New Orleans. These guys don't get playing time. They're shipped off for stars. That's the way it works. And now you add a guy like Gabe Vincent, who, was essentially kind of that glue guy in Miami, that they got to see, up close and personal in that NBA Finals. Like, this is a guy that has played good basketball and played that kind of like hustle basketball that you need. And sure enough, he was Johnny on the spot last night. And Dalton Connect, we were talking about, wow, Connect doesn't even look like he should be out there. And now you give a guy time, because these are humans after all. They might not look it. They might be 6'8", 6'9", whatever. Might not look like you and I. But the reality is they are humans. And I think it took, Connect some time to, kind of cope with what happened. And I think now that I think he's ready to go. He's going to be a contributor. The Lakers have everything you need in a finals contender. Rim protection, check. It's not the best that it's ever been in LA, but it's not bad. And Jackson Hayes is getting a lot better at that. Then you have the 3-point shot. LeBron, Doncic, Finney Smith can hit them. We just talked about Gabe Vincent, Connect, Austin Reeves. They got a lot of help. Rui, a lot of help from 3. Then your ability to really be aggressive and slash your way into the paint, which pretty much everyone can do. Obviously, LeBron, Luka can do it a little bit better than some others, Austin Reeves, and then rebounding. So I just think at the end of the day, the defensive side, forcing turnovers. I mean, you had 4 steals from Doncic last night, which won't be talked about, but those 4 steals were key and critical to winning the game. Vanderbilt had 2, So, and Hayes, by the way, had 2 blocks last night. So let's put some respect on his name. And by the way, you probably already knew this, but since January 15th, the Lakers defense ranks first in almost every defensive category.
Oh, I know.
They're top 5 in 3-point defense, and it shows. It absolutely shows.
Yeah. So, I mean, it definitely shows. Last night, like I said multiple times, like at the end of the game, we just locked in on defense, but most of the game, the Knicks were just locked in on defense the whole time. Like they are in complete control the whole game. We were just like lacking on defense, offense, but we're just the comeback dogs. We just find a way to win the games and play good defense, and defense win championships at the end of the day. So if you continue that up throughout the whole entire time and into playoffs, then we can for sure find our ticket into June in the finals. So yeah, that's where we're going.
That's the big thing, of course. They got to get to the finals. Yes. You can't be doing this and fall short. And I mean, we already saw that with Genie Bus, with that whole thing.
Right.
What were your thoughts on that?
Which one are you talking about?
When she came out and basically was like, yeah, we lost 3 times to the Nuggets. We want to get past the Nuggets. And Anthony Davis was complaining.
Oh, right. Yeah. Honestly, I didn't expect that from her, like, whatsoever. I thought she'd be like, he was a great player. Thank God for him and whatnot. But that was just surprising to me. But at the end of the day, man, it's just a business. We do what's good for the team. But in addition with Luka, man, it's something special going to come in the playoffs.
Yeah, I have some thoughts on what Jeannie said. I think what I heard, or rather what I read, was coming from somebody who's very comfortable in their position right now. Things are good. It's easy to talk like that. If the Lakers hadn't won 8 straight and had lost 8 straight, she's not even coming out and saying that. So I was kind of disappointed. Just because I would like to see a little bit more professionalism from somebody that I thought had more professionalism than what was shown. I don't care if Anthony Davis was complaining or not. I don't care that he might have thrown a backhanded, shot at the Lakers. I don't care. This is a guy that thought he was going to be around for a long time. They traded him away. Obviously, we'd all do the trade all over again if we had to, but Anthony Davis was a part of the 2020 championship, was a big reason why they won that. So the last thing I'm going to do is trash his name. Like, I would look to protect somebody like that. I would make it very clear, okay, he has every right to feel that way. We still really appreciate him here. He's still a legend in Lakerland, and I'd leave it at that. I wouldn't come out and say, well, Anthony Davis was complaining. I would have just avoided that altogether, personally. So that was a little bummer. But aside from that, there's really just not much to be bummed about right now with the Lakers. They are the best team in the league since January 15th. They're really on a tear. And I just have to give credit where credit's due. Rob Pelinka did not do a damn thing in free agency and got a lot of hate for it. Yeah. But I kept thinking to myself, how good were the free agents this year? Think about it.
It's pretty much the same team. It's pretty much the same team. And honestly, coming into the season, like I already posted this in the beginning of the season, like I had no expectations whatsoever for this team. I thought it would be like the same thing from last year, like same old deal, again, the playoffs, losing the first round or whatnot. But yeah, this trade definitely saved the season. Like if we didn't make this trade and just had the same people from last year, I think it would have been the same deal. Like no way we'll probably win against Denver again. No way we'll get like in the conference finals again. But now we're showing that we can actually compete and win a championship this year.
It's just funny to me how immediately when they got Luka, it was, he's not a fit. This is for the long term, not now. And it's like people forgot he was just in the finals.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are you talking about? Like, why are we acting like he's going to be really good down the road? He's just not there yet. No, he is already one of the best in the league.
He's in his prime. Middle of his prime.
It's crazy to me, the narrative that was being pushed after he was traded to Lakers. I mean, it wasn't, it was, it's not for now, it's for, down the road. And I'm just sitting there like, and I kept hearing that. And I'm just like, what? So do you mean to tell me you don't think they can win with Luka? Like, I didn't understand that. And so I think it's really simple, is that the bottom line is the Lakers got better when they got rid of Anthony Davis for Luka. And it's not because Anthony Davis is not a good player. It's not because he doesn't provide. Like, no, he's one of the best defensive players I've ever seen. But that's just it. See, the Lakers having Anthony Davis and having his injuries, Anthony Davis can't even play at 100%. Like, you see it. He can't run the floor like he used to. So the way JJ Redick wants to run his team, he wants to be that kind of physical, kind of scrappy team. And when you have Anthony Davis in there, albeit, center or power forward, well, now it's going to make you a little bit slower. And so obviously Jackson Hayes loves to run the floor. He's very athletic and he's not really worried about injuries, whereas Anthony Davis is trying to keep himself healthy. I think that's what it comes down to, man. I think now you have more running up and down the court, more athleticism on both ends. You can play smaller ball as well. Because when you have Anthony Davis, it's like you got to give him his minutes. You can't just bench him for, say, Gabe Vincent. But yeah, I think a lot of that comes down to he's a great player, but it's a reminder that just because he's a great player and just because he's elite doesn't mean that he necessarily fits the vision of what JJ Redick wanted the Lakers to be. And I think it just goes to show you that Luka fits that. And
absolutely.
And also, let's be honest with ourselves. Luka has done wonders as far as, developing his defensive game. And that's something that's always thrown out there that I think is a little unfair. People always say he's a terrible defender. Since he's come to the Lakers, he hasn't been. He had some huge moments. And honestly, I don't know if they win last night without his defense. That's really what I'm going to say. Yeah. I think he stepped up in a big way in the half court. The Knicks, they got a lot of things that they can throw at you. Karl Anthony Towns is no joke. Then you got Anunoby, who couldn't miss in the first half.
Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson.
Bridges is a good player. And Brunson is just, he makes everything just about. And they have some other guys as well. And so that was not easy. Josh Hart, and he held his own with his defense. And I was really impressed with Luka in that regard. They forced some shot clock violations. This defense is scary. And this Lakers team is going to translate to the postseason as long as they stay healthy. And I think the biggest thing about last night, before we move on to the Celtics game, is Ethan. Last night, they did all this without Rui. And I really felt like last night they missed Rui probably more than ever. And they still found a way to win. I think that's a big thing. Rui is that guy, like, you have LeBron and Doncic, they're always going to get their 25 to 30 points. After that, Reeves might have 20.
Defense, all that.
Yeah, Reeves might have 20, but like Rui's normally going to be a guy that's in there for like 20 points. So they had to find other ways to score. And of course, guys pick up the pace, connect, and Vincent. It's a fun time. It's fun to watch their games. They're fun to watch. They move the ball well. They're not just. I didn't like the hero ball shots at the end of the game. I'm sure you didn't either when they had the lead.
I mean,
you got half court 3-pointer from Luka. It's like,
yeah,
I didn't love that, but
I mean, he was just showing off, man. It was a TNT primetime game, man.
Oh yeah. Well,
yeah,
that is part of it. They are entertainers after all. So
right. We got Boston tomorrow, man. We got Boston, and it's the first game of a four-game road trip. We got Boston, we got Nets, Bucks, and Nuggets all on the same road trip.
Not gonna be easy.
Not gonna be easy whatsoever. I think it'll be harder than yesterday's game for sure, because Boston's coming in. They literally rested all their players yesterday just to play us tomorrow. I mean, it's everyone comes back versus the Lakers. Everyone knows that. And, they're looking for revenge because we beat them by 22 points when we had 80 in our team back in January. So, and it's in Boston. That crowd's be really pretty rowdy. And, yeah, it's going to be tough, especially in that environment.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it is funny how they rested all their guys. And then on the inverse of that, the Lakers play a wicked tough game against the Celtics rival, helping them out, by the way, knocking the Knicks off. But played a wicked tough game that went into overtime. I'm going to take the Lakers to win this one, though.
Oh, I am too. I'm not betting against someone whatsoever, though. I'm
not betting against the Lakers right now. The way they're playing, I think it'll be another close game, probably like a 5-point game, what have you. But I'll take the Lakers. I know matchup predictor from ESPN has the Lakers 55.4%. And then the spread is that the Lakers are 3.5-point underdogs. But yeah, I'll take the Lakers to win that one. I think they just have too much right now for really anybody. I mean, if they're hitting their shots, they're not losing. If they're staying healthy, even if they're not, they still aren't losing. So, yeah, I'll take the Lakers in this one. I don't know how long this win streak is going to go. Currently at 8. They've won 14 of the last 16. Like, I don't know how long this is going to go, but I do think they're going to get this win. And I know we look at it like this, like, oh yeah, coming off overtime, they rested their starters, so forth. But the way I see it is this. The Lakers are going to be less likely to have rust. They also have a day off today. So it's not like they're just going right into that game. So I do think that's going to play a role, play a factor. And we might see Rui tomorrow. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, he's probably end up as questionable and then either get upgraded or downgraded to out. So we'll probably get the update tomorrow morning.
Yeah. So obviously you guys stay tuned for that. Anything else you want to add, Ethan?
Well, we got like I said, we got a 4-game road trip and we got 3 sets of back-to-backs in a row. So that'll be hard. That'll be really hard. And LeBron did make a comment about that. Like he was pretty pressured about having to go 3 back-to-backs in a row. And it's gonna be hard on our bodies, on our players' bodies. And hopefully we can start resting our guys because this March schedule is pretty tough. Like we have a back-to-back Bucks and Nuggets, back-to-back with Suns and Spurs coming up, and another back-to-back with the Nuggets and Bucks. So this is the time where we can actually try to rest some players and hope we get some ones at the same time because in April it's gonna be playoff time. So hopefully our guys can be healthy and ready to go.
Yeah, it's tough. It's like do you want to get the 2 seed that badly? Do you want to rest your? I don't think there's anything wrong with resting. I do think they are going to try to get that 2 seed. They play OKC in OKC on April 6th and April 8th. Those are 2 really interesting games there.
And of course, we have that Dallas Mavericks game on the 9th, the second night of it back-to-back after the OKC game. So that'll be interesting. Obviously, it's Luka's return in Dallas, since it's probably a little emotional for him and emotional for the fans. It's a big stretch coming up for our team.
Yeah. Well, if there was any team I'd have confidence in breaking out of this stretch, Lakers, I mean, right now, the way they're playing, we'll see. We will definitely see, but I think that is going to do it. So appreciate you guys tuning in. We had over 500 people watching, which is fantastic. Obviously, most coming on Twitter. If you are watching on Twitter, be sure to check us out over on YouTube, Downtown Lakers YouTube channel. We're over 200 subscribers, which is awesome. So we're going to keep doing this every Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, 12 p.m. Pacific. And yeah, that's all I got. Tomorrow, Lakers, Boston, 8:30 Eastern time on ABC. So that should be a hell of a game. Yeah. But Ethan, I'll let you you do the outro since you did the intro. That's how it works.
All right, got you, man. Our Laker Nation, this wraps up episode 2 of Downtown Lakers. We'll see you guys next Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And go Lakers, man. See you guys next time.